Querida hermana, querida prima, I think I've learned how to say goodbye. I've been living in between Puerto Rico and the US for 7 years. I lived in Boston for 4 years and in Atlanta for 3. After all that, I decided to fully return home. When I was 18, I decided the best thing I could do for my career was to study in the US. I only applied to liberal arts schools in the US. At the time, as patriotic as I was, I had bought into the idea that if I wanted to be an artist or a businesswoman, I had to be in the US. I had to say goodbye to my best friend from childhood. That really hurt. Although we continue being friends, when you leave the island, it always changes the relationship you have with your loved ones. I learned that even when you know that goodbye isn't forever, at the moment, it can definitely feel that way. In the last 7 years, I had to say goodbye to so many people, places, and even habits and things. I learned many technical skills in the universities, but thanks to living abroad for a few years, I learned how to say goodbye and start over. Querida hermana, querida prima, a big part of your journey into adulthood is learning how to say goodbye. I grew fond of Boston, a very expensive city that's extremely cold. But it's a city full of intellectual and ambitious young people. As grateful as I am that I had the privilege to study abroad, the only good thing about being in the US is getting to know all the immigrants. Seriously. If it weren't for the international students who go into these universities, the university system would collapse. All the best students, valedictorians, summa cum laude, and even a Rhodes Scholar that I met are all international students. The best friendships I ever had are with immigrants and children of immigrants. In Boston, I made friends from people from China, the Philippines, Haiti, Nepal. I connected with children of immigrants from Cameroon, Mexico, Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, Colombia, and Cuba. I made classmates from France, Russia, and China. And I'm sure enough, there were a lot of Puerto Ricans there as well. The student population in Boston is so diverse, I genuinely believe you can connect the entire world there. In Atlanta, I met many people, primarily from India and South America. Although there is still a large population of children of Caribbean immigrants. My best friend for the last 3 years have been Indians and Latinas. And without going into too much detail, Mexico really stole my heart a couple of times. I got used to walking everywhere. Now that I'm back home in PR, I have to relearn how to drive again. I grew attached to my apartment, my routine, and people around me. I remember the first time I said goodbye to my apartment in Boston that I had grown very attached to. It was in August of 2023. I spent the whole day with my boyfriend at the time cleaning everything. And I even invited my best friends to come over for a mini farewell party. I cried so much. Recently, I had to say goodbye to my apartment in Atlanta. This time, the only one who helped me move everything out was my mother. And this time, I didn't cry. I felt really sad, but I wasn't crying and making a big scene like I did when I had to leave Boston. I think the more you get used to saying goodbye and moving on, the easier it becomes. Even though I already experienced saying goodbye to my friends in Boston, saying goodbye to my loved ones in Atlanta wasn't easy at all. Although I didn't grow attached to the city of Atlanta like I did in Boston, I grew attached to its people. I think the goodbyes I had in Atlanta were the hardest I've ever had. No matter how much you love someone, sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is learn to say goodbye then, even if it hurts like hell. You know what's best for the long run. Going to a new place where you don't know anything or anyone and leaving there crying because that place became your home and the people you met became your family really helped me grow in many ways. Now I'm 25 years old and I moved back in with my parents. Now I have to rebuild myself all over again. I haven't always had the same self-confidence that I do now, but thanks to everything I experienced in the United States, I feel ready. I feel prepared to say goodbye to my past life and create a new one. Querida Hermana, Querida Prima, I hope this helps you in some way.